If it were easy, everyone would do it. All over the state, in just about every crop, every year is a challenge to farmers, and this year has been no exception, as soybean producers in the state of Georgia have had a difficult time. I recently visited with one producer in northeast Georgia to talk about how this season has went for him.
We row crop, strictly row crop, about 1,100 acres in here in Hart County. It's a bunch of small farms scattered all over the place. We grow anything from wheat, oats, peas, soybeans, milo. And this year we had, I'm gonna say, about 700 to 800 acres of soybeans that we planted. And so that's what we're actually out here doing now, is finishing up soybean harvest.
It's a little late to still be in the fields harvesting soybeans, but they don't really have a choice after having to deal with the weather that they've had this year.
This season's been a little bit different than most. Got them in the ground good, and we started planting. It was probably mid to late April. Planted some early beans. Planting went fine. After we planted some of the early beans, we got hit by a little bit of a drought for about 3 weeks, which really hurt the starting growth.
But the good news is that it didn't really affect the crop that much, and they are still seeing good yields from what they're harvesting.
As far as bushels to the acre, it didn't affect the yield on them that much because it shortened them. So they were real short beans, but they still averaged pretty good. As the season went on, we got wet. So it went from one extreme to another. Most of the time with soybeans, you've got one or the other. It's either you dry all summer or you're wet all summer. This year, started off dry, finished up wet.
What they say the weather has affected the most is the actual harvest. Due to almost a solid week of rain that went across pretty much the entire state, it set their harvest back due to the crop being too wet and the ground too soft to get the harvester into the fields.
It affected us more on the harvesting end than the actual planting and growth. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we got 10 inches of rain. So that knocked us out of the field for a good bit. But other than that, as far as the season and growing, we had a pretty good season.
Thankfully for them though, the weather has finally shaped up and they're able to finish up their harvest. And from what they can tell, it's going to be a decent harvest, especially considering how the past few months have been for them.
It varies. Our early beans got hit by the drought. They average anywhere from 35 to 40 bushels. Some of our best beans, we've ranged, and like I said, we're so scattered out. All our fields got different kind of weather. So we would be in a field and might cut 70 bushels to the acre in a field, and then the next field might cut 40. So across the board, we were in that 40 to 50 bushel acre range overall. So like I said, not a bad year. We've cut better, but we've also had a lot worse.
Reporting in Cannon for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.